Welcome back to another Broken Podcast. I'm Nic Taylor. Last episode, I let you guys know that I was taking a break for a bit. Honestly, I didn't know how badly I needed it until I actually stepped back and embraced it. I've been going nonstop for almost 2 years at this point in my journey, diving headfirst into some of the most difficult topics, just one after the other. This hiatus helped me find clarity, and there have been a few things I haven't confronted that I really needed to. We talk about journaling as a tool for mental health, but how many times do we get to see or hear examples of those entries to inspire us to put pen to paper? I figured I would do that this week. Not only let you hear some of what I wrote during my time away, but also share the feedback on what was going through my head, how writing it down helps me personally, and as a gentle reminder of a key element that gets lost sometimes about this podcast. I am just a guy on the other side of the mic with his own struggles, just like you. No one prepares you for how much healing is going to hurt. We hear the word and our minds go straight to the desired outcome: peace, joy, clarity, fulfillment. We don't imagine how much we have to confront to get there, or what may end up broken in order to build back better. Maybe no one tells you because they can't, because healing is so individual that it's impossible to procure what another will experience. Or maybe it's just so we don't get scared and run away. Nothing prepares you for what you start seeing in your own reflection once the mask comes off. Or that once you learn to take down your own, you blatantly see others behind theirs as well. Something you were blissfully ignorant to before becomes all you see. Inauthentic behavior becomes intolerable, in turn, making those connections bend and break under the weight of what has never been said. Your circle becomes smaller as your growth becomes greater. And although those connections were built on the shallow foundation of conditional love, the pain remains as you break the chains connecting you to those that were holding you down. This is one of my first journal entries after I embraced my hiatus. When we talk about the process of healing, people mention that it is hard, that we will lose people along the way, and that parts of it are going to hurt. No one really elaborates on the why behind that. Maybe it is out of preservation to keep people from jumping ship, because if they really knew what they were going to have to face, they may shy away because of how difficult it can be. Maybe it is that others don't have the words for it because of how individualized the process of healing is. That piece in there about taking down your own mask and being able to see everyone else's, that part is lonely because, at least for me, I have no desire for a relationship with anyone who isn't authentic anymore. The hollowness of those relationships is too stifling for where I am now. It isn't in a judgmental way. I can understand that it is what feels safe and familiar because I wore a mask 24/7 for as long as I can remember. But that understanding isn't something that reciprocates back the other direction in those empty relationships. People desire to be comfortable, and unmasking is not only uncomfortable for yourself. When people interact with the authentic version of you from behind their own mask, it makes them uncomfortable as well. They will shy away, deflect, or just disappear. It still hurts when that happens, even when you know it's coming, because losing people is never easy. Love. That word gets thrown around so much. What's left of its meaning? We love pizza. We love our favorite band. We love people. But what standard is there to what love is? We learn it through our parents while also enduring childhood trauma. Our first love breaks our heart after insisting it's love all along the way, and others follow suit until we wind up lost at what it is. People keep telling you that they love you, but the meaning is lost in all that drowns it. The actions that say otherwise. Sometimes even feeling the burn of hate from someone who let I love you leave their lips. Why does the word that's supposed to mean so much feel so empty? Why does the love that is shown equate to the same level of care as that of a dish or an ensemble? We hear about unconditional love, yet spend our lives chasing the conditional love that life allows us to see. And each condition leaves us further detached from what love is supposed to mean: safety, peace, joy, companionship, the purest forms of intimacy. None of those are things that follow the word love. Instead, mostly pain does through phases of our lives. Where did that get lost? Why is the goal not set to the feelings we not only desire but crave? Why is the experience of unconditional love so foreign that when you feel it, it almost feels unnatural? But in one of those, it feels so wrong it's right kind of ways. Finding that after a life of I love yous that aren't just empty, but carry a weight to receive. It feels as if it's something that you're not worthy of. But why did we learn this? Why did our experience create the fear of what love is supposed to be and the tolerance for something else wrapped up in its name? It's almost as if the world is set up in a way to lead you to believe the words when they are all lies, and run and hide when the true meaning of the word shows its face. I love you, but do you? I love you, but where is the evidence of it? I love you. Then why does every memory hold pain? I love you. Then why do I fill you with disgust and you can't hide it on your face? I felt love. It isn't this. It's not here. Why is the real feeling so foreign that we fail to recognize that all of these other loves are other words in a mask? Love requires nothing and gives everything without any expectation of return. It's beautiful. It's safe. The world never taught us to love. It taught us to accept everything but love in its name and place. We learn to love in a tainted way. Dogma of all forms and fashions influence our perception of what love truly is from the moment that we were born. Maybe this is why other languages don't limit love to a single word, because of the vastness that it encompasses. A lot of types of trauma are centered around the abuse and exploitation of what love is supposed to be: childhood, religious, relational. You name the trauma, and it can skew the meaning of the word. And after a lifetime of lowering the bar of what love actually is, we end up accepting painful and hurtful things dressed up in a chorus of I love yous. We make excuses for people that say those three words because we desire to be loved so much that we write off abuse, hate, and disgust and wrap them in the safety of knowing that we will hear I love you again. None of it is conscious. Like I said, it starts the day that we were born. Think back on all the people who have told you that they love you. Now think about their actions. Did those actions really reflect love in the way that you want to receive it? Or was it the comfortability and complacency that kept you in that situation for so long? From personal experience, the actions of a majority of people who have told me they love me really contradicts their words. Real, unconditional, uncontested love is far more rare than what we treat it to be. And for the most part, we accept everything but love wrapped up in its name. No one has ever lied to me the ways you have. Who even are you? Why do you look like that? Nothing so unattractive has ever stood before me. I've tried to escape you, but you are everywhere, in everything, man made and natural. From a storefront window to a puddle on the ground, you stare back at me and question my very existence. For decades, that has been our relationship: cold, harsh, judgmental, full of disappointment. But both of us have changed. Now your presence is comforting and welcome. I can finally watch you stare back at me without even questioning what you see. I've fought with body dysmorphia my whole life. Mirrors have never been friendly to me. And as I sank deeper and deeper into conforming to what society expected me to look like as a man, the voice of my own reflection became harsher and harsher. I figured something out though. Most of that self loathing was backed by holding back my own self expression. What once started with hating the way that I looked because I could never reach the physique I desired slowly grew into hatred for everything else I saw in the mirror strictly to appease society. Why do we even do this? Isn't individuality one of the things that makes life beautiful? Why is the comfort of a stranger we pass more important than how we feel about ourselves as we stare at our own reflections? Honestly, the answer for that is pretty simple. We were conditioned to believe that through every facet of our lives. We were raised to adhere to standards we didn't set and fit the mold of fitting in rather than standing out. Suppress instead of express. In a way, we were set up to hate who is looking back at us from the other side of the mirror because we never learned to embrace the beauty in just being ourselves. Instead, we learned to blend in, be part of the collective, and never let what is inside out. It's amazing the power behind words until there is none. I let my truth flow and I feel seen and heard, but one hint of opposition and it is silence. Why is that? Why can people find a relation to what's going on in my heart and change tune and swap what truth gets their allegiance instantly? Am I crazy? How am I supposed to prove to myself that I'm not when everyone else sees things differently? I must be the problem. Because professionals and loved ones alike hear anything but my story, and without hesitation, they see a completely different picture. One that doesn't even resemble what I have drawn. What exactly am I supposed to do with that information other than scrutinize the common denominator? Me. I have to be the problem. Forget your own thoughts, memories, and emotions. Everyone else sees the same thing, so your lens must be skewed. Straighten the fuck up. You should have known better than to think there was room for your experience. It doesn't matter what that was because it can't be true. Why would you have been so naive to think that your voice and your truth would matter? Crawl back into your hollow shell. Be quiet and just be what you were made to be. My whole life, my perception has been on trial. As a child, a teen, a young adult, as a father, a soldier, a technician, as a friend, a family member, a partner. When your own experience in life is always on the chopping block, how are you ever supposed to feel secure in your own truth? It's a struggle, one that has roots that go back as far as I can remember, and vines that bind me and grow tighter each day. I'm sure that sounds a bit funny, coming from a guy who you are literally listening to on a mental health podcast. But in real life, that is how my voice feels pacified. That didn't happen overnight. There was no single person who procured this. It is a lifetime of actions from all angles that left me feeling like my silence is all that people find warranted. It almost feels like if I can't be what someone wants, then they will either try to change that or they will leave. And the last thing I ever wanted was to end up alone. So I changed myself to fit the mold I was being poured into. Just be the stereotype, and then people will listen and love you. I didn't see how deeply that would impact me, turning me into an emotionless, hollow shell over time, one who could never love himself. That was the sacrifice that was needed for acceptance, though, right? Well, I stopped doing that. And although I get looks, comments, and avoidance now, as the authentic version of myself, I get something far more valuable in return: self love, self acceptance, peace. I may not appease the masses, but I am who I have always wanted to be now. And that was a key part in understanding that my voice, my truth, and my experience are real. And now, no one can take those things away from me. Is there even space for me here anymore? I went through a slow and grueling crawl to even reach the first milestone. I was immediately knocked back down and put back in my place. You're small. Stay in your corner. Be quiet. And watch the world move on and surpass you. You're irrelevant. You aren't pretty enough. No amount of effort will ever pay off for you, strictly because it is you. Clearly, your message means nothing, so we won't let anyone hear it. You tried to change things up to further your reach? We saw that coming. So instead, we'll put you back into a smaller box. Just be consistent. Just keep putting yourself out there. Your people will come. That's what I hear. Yet, I feel stifled, suppressed, even canceled after over a tenth of my people walked away. I was shoved back down that hill, the one that I stood atop for moments that finally gave me a view of the mountains of success on the horizon. Now that I am back down here, though, I'm left questioning if this is even a viable effort. Have I been wasting my time? The more I look at it, the more it feels that way. Does anyone even hear me? The analytics say not past 3 seconds. I always say that it's worth it if I can even impact one person. But if I'm silenced, can I even do that here? Tick tock. The clock is ticking, and you are running out of time. TikTok was where I broke ground. It was the first place I began to feel comfortable enough to express myself. That hasn't come without its own challenges, though. I have changed over time. I've blossomed into myself. And in all honesty, I know that has been a lot to follow over the years as I really dabbled into finding me again. It's scary to do, especially putting yourself in front of a camera and mic for all to see. But over time, it has become more and more comfortable until I've reached today, where I am finally comfortable to show my true colors to the world. The thing is, not everyone likes that. When I wrote this, I had lost 1,000 followers. By the time I recorded a video to go along with that, the number had climbed to 3,000. Those aren't the kind of numbers that reflect bot accounts getting shut down. Those happen in waves of like 50, 100, sometimes even 150. Thousands? That is real people turning away. It's naive to think that doesn't hurt, especially as a growing creator who has fought an uphill battle for years. But there is a truth in this as well, one that brings peace. Those aren't my people. It's simple to say, harder to believe, but it is the truth. We experience a similar thing in our personal lives as we heal. People will leave. I have never spoken to a single person that went through a healing journey and self discovery that didn't lose people along the way. It is a hard truth that you have to accept in order to battle your demons and be who you truly are. Some people aren't going to be in the chapters of our lives that follow our healing. The most important thing to remember in this is that we have to lose those that hold us down to make space for those that will lift us up. I've been journaling for a long while and writing even longer than that. My journal entries didn't start out sounding like this. They were originally more of a, this is what happened today kind of vibe. But I had to start there to get to the point where I am now, writing and expressing my true feelings and emotions in the moment that they come. I carry a journal with me everywhere and write whenever and wherever the pen and paper feeling strikes. I have about 3 different active journals, one that holds thoughts, one that I sketch in, and one that I reflect into. My point in sharing these entries is to inspire you. Maybe journaling isn't your thing. Find an outlet that sticks in your heart and mind in this way. Something that opens the door for you to safely express, let out, and process what you need to in the way that journaling does for me. We were not all carved from the same stone, so not all of us are going to find solace in the same things. Writing, creating music, fixing things, creating new ones. There are so many methods to try until you find the one that fits. And that is exactly what I'm trying to portray in this episode. a look into how I use this coping mechanism instead of just saying, these are the coping mechanisms. Another thing to remember in this, you are unique and beautiful in your own way, and no two people have the same experience. Embrace yours. This is your life. Stop trying to live it in a way that comforts everyone else and start living it in a way that is true and authentic to you. Is that easy? Hell no. That is honestly one of the hardest things you will ever do in your life. But do you really want to continue living your life in the misery of conformity? Or do you want to live this one chance at life? Really live it authentic to yourself and who you really are. Thank you for listening to this episode of Another Broken Podcast. If this episode resonates with you, share it with someone that you think needs to hear it. Guys, it is so good to be back. Although I needed this break and it ended up being a little bit longer than I expected, I really have missed just sitting down to talk to you. There are some new things coming over the next 2 weeks. The podcast is going to be expanding to more social media platforms. I have 2 new merch designs to release that I came up with during the break, and I'm working on locking in a few guests with PhDs to share their own perspectives and insights with us. I'm more excited today than I have been in a while to continue to grow this free mental health resource and the community we are building around it. Thank you for being understanding about my needs as I stepped away for a bit and continuing to show up even as I fight my own battles. Remember, I am just another broken person sharing the things that I confront alongside with you. I think that's the thing that makes Another Broken Podcast unique. And I hope that peace in itself helps you feel less alone. Because I feel less alone just from having you here by my side on my own journey. As always, I'd love to hear from you. Feel free to comment on this episode, shoot us an email at brokenmedia1984@gmail.com, or by following the podcast on TikTok under the new page with the username Another Broken Podcast. Until next time, I'm Nic Taylor. Have a good one, guys.